it's Dania. I had the awesome privilege of interviewing someone that is a big sister, mentor. I just love everything that she stands for and how she can talk about any area. It's not just fun and games, but if we need to talk politics or anything like that. But most importantly, she's also a caregiver, like I am, of my dad, her father, and also she wrote this movie, and I was showing it too fast, recording, and I'm like, I need to make sure that this is seen, but it is one of the movies that I really, really like. Like, it's probably on my top favorites list, but yeah, I actually had a really good Bible study from this movie, and it wasn't even on purpose. But please enjoy. So thank you again so much, Yvette, for meeting with me, talking, because number one, I think you're amazing. I really do, and I'm excited to be able to talk about a couple of things. One is always a bridesmaid. Hey. I love this movie, and I even had a great Bible study because of your movie.
Is that right? I love that.
Very true, and I'm sure a lot of people probably missed it, but I did not miss it. So yeah, it was great. I love it. I thank you, for being vulnerable in that and sharing your story, and it was just a good quality, clean movie with a moment where I was like, yes.
Thank you. And it's not exactly my story. Like, I don't have Karina's relationship with her father, and my mother's still alive. And, I don't have a Mark, so it's definitely not my story. But, hope springs eternal. But I do hope that there were enough just biblical truths in there. We tried not to be preachy, but we did want to speak the truth of who God is and how his love works, and that it's important to wait for the match that God sends you. And he talks to us about being equally yoked. It's important to make sure you wait for that person, and to not be afraid to trust that it's actually him or her when they finally arrive. So that's the rub.
Well, amen. Thank you. Well, thank you. Even all the actors in it, man, they were just perfect. Like, to know that you didn't like handpick or say you have to do this. Like, there was one, I'm like, you didn't include that in the movie, that was on accident. Like, okay, I will do that. So thank you for that. And also, I have to say a super huge thank you for speaking to my babies. I have kids that are diagnosed with MS, and when I say you lit a fire under them, they were
it was my pleasure. I really enjoyed talking to them, and I've enjoyed following the MS Youngsters Instagram page, and I'm retweeting and reposting things that they put up. I mean, they're our future. They're phenomenal. They're advocates. They're just the perfect face for MS, and I'm glad that they're using their platform for good.
They were super duper excited, and every time you share their story or like something, they're like, she liked it. She liked it.
I like it all. Tell them I like all of it. I like all of it.
Right. But thank you for that. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to hold on one second. I'm going to pause for 1 second because I did not put my phone in airplane mode.
Okay. There you go.
And now I am.
Okay.
I'm going to go. All right. So I have to talk about, there's something that we have in common.
What is that?
And it is not an easy task. It could be frustrating. It can be discouraging for me at times. I don't know how that is for you, but we're both caregivers for our fathers.
Yes.
And my dad was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Officially diagnosed in 2000, but he's gone from a cane to a walker, to a scooter, to a wheelchair, permanently in a chair, and has to have 24-hour care. And the trick of that is that my dad lives in Pennsylvania, and I am in Los Angeles. And so I would love to hear, what how you're doing with caregiving, what your situation is, and how that works. And I would even, you may have some tips for me to help me, because sometimes I'm like,
yeah, it's not easy. I've always said that it's the best tough thing I've ever done, or the toughest best thing I've ever done. My dad has dementia, and he got diagnosed, I think, gosh, me and dates. I think it was probably eight years ago he got diagnosed. 7 or 8 years. I've had him for about 6 years. So whenever he was diagnosed, I've had him 1 year less than that. He lives here with me. He is my sole responsibility. Every day I feed him. I make sure that he's comfortable. I make sure that he's entertained. That's my job. And I take it as a blessing. I don't look at it as a curse. It's a blessing, because I get to be the keeper of his memories. I get to be the one to remind him of who he is, the days that he forgets. The beauty of who he is as a man. My dad is very kind. He's very calm. He's he's a reader. So all of that stuff has been intensified, thankfully, with his dementia. He hasn't become, some people have their personality changes. My dad's personality just intensified, and he was already like the dopest dude. So it's nice. A blessing. So we're going to take the ride, and it changes every day. Dementia is a very unwieldy disease. So you never really know what the day is going to be like for him, but it's my job to make sure that whatever he wakes up and faces, that I'm there to face it with him. The only tip I could give you, and it's not even one that I really do myself, which I got to get better at, you have to take care of yourself. Self-care is important. I hear the word, I don't really know what it means, but I feel like there's stress on us as caregivers that we're not aware of, because we're so focused on the other person's comfort and happiness and joy that you forget that you're sometimes caring for them to your own detriment. So you have to find a way to, you have to find a way to pour back into yourself. So that whatever that is, that's watching TV, if that's eating some potato chips, I don't know what it is that brings a little bit of joy, but every caregiver has to find a way to make sure they do that for themselves as well.
Yeah, when you're saying that, I find myself sometimes not being able to relax, because I'm like, is he okay? Is he doing this? Did they come?
Yeah, it's got to be harder because you're so far away too.
Yeah, and honestly, sometimes I don't even know what time it really is, because I have to be on East Coast time. Although I'm living in LA, when I look at 11 o'clock, I don't see 11 o'clock. Yeah. You know, I'm like, okay, so it's 1 o'clock and we're going, whatever. I mean, or 2 o'clock. And so my aunt, thank God she's there, because it's between my aunt and I that take care of my dad. And see, sometimes she tells me, like, your dad is fine. Calm down. It is this, but it is, I'm actually grateful that I was diagnosed with MS, because I'm able to understand what he's going through, how he's feeling. Is it like, okay, like, are you faking, or is it, and it's like, okay, he's okay, he's seriously, going through that. But the memories part, I let my dad reminisce, as much, because my dad was a musician. And so if he wants to talk about a show that he did, somebody he met, or, when I was a kid and rode my big wheel down the steps like a nut, anything like that, I try to let him do that and not rush it. And even if I hear the same thing 1,000 times, listen like it's the first time.
That's right. That's what you learn to do. Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate that, self-care, because Dania and I especially have to be careful, because if I'm not taking care of myself, it makes my MS symptoms.
Yeah, so you have to find a way to take care of yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So I appreciate that, you sharing that, because it is important. So thank you for even saying that. But I just want you to know that I just appreciate you and everything that you do for people. I can't tell you thank you enough. And to know the intensity of being a caregiver, and then you still, giving yourself and sharing and all that, kudos to you. Because I can't imagine.
I'm trying my best every day to be a decent human being. That's all we got. That's all we got. So, yeah.
Well, you're doing it. You are doing it.
Thank you, sis. Thank you.
No, thank you so much. And I ask everybody 3 questions.
Okay, let's do it.
Women's our friendship, sisterhood, all of that.
Okay.
But 3 questions. One is, if you could be any age for the rest of your life, what would that age be? Like, that is your dream age?
Oof. I mean, I guess I would say this is a difficult question because there's a lot of qualifiers. Like, I could say I want to be 10 for the rest of my life because that's a age where your imagination is amazing and you're dreaming of all the things that could be. But to be 10, I need my mama to be there, and now I'm making her have to take care of a 10-year-old for the rest of her life. So I can't say 10. So I got to pick a time when I was actually able to function in the world. So I would pick probably 23 or 24, because that is probably the other time in my life where I felt a sense of wonder, except I was in control of what my dreams were. You know, I moved to LA when I turned 23. I, you know, had my first apartment at 23, had my first real job at 23. So I would choose that because that was the year where I felt like anything was possible. And, you know, as you get older, you realize maybe not everything and maybe not everything at once, but when you're 23, you still kind of believe I could probably do everything. So I like that idea that anything is possible. So I'm gonna go with 23.
Okay. And are you a caller or a texter?
You know, I am mainly that's a tough one. I'm an introvert, so I don't have a need for interaction in the same way that an extrovert does. Okay. But my crew of people, like the people that I'm really close to that I adore, I could talk to them every day. I could. Not that I necessarily want to or it's even feasible, but I could. Aside from that, there is nothing like a really witty, fun text conversation with gifs and pictures and visual aids and jokes. Like there's something about that I actually love. So I'm going to just go rogue and say more of a texter, even though that's not necessarily true.
Okay, very good. Now, dream peanut butter and jelly sandwich. If you were making the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, what kind of jelly, what kind of peanut butter, and whatever else you want to say.
I see what you're putting down. Okay. Brioche or potato bread, like real spongy, thick, you know, some weight, some girth to the bread.
Yeah.
Either strawberry or blackberry seedless. Seedless jelly or jam, like that simply all fruit, one of those where it's just, they just take the fruit and just push it into a jar and hand it to you. I want that kind of jelly. And then I would go with like some Skippy, regular, creamy. I don't like the nutty peanut butter. I need the peanut butter to be smooth. So I'm gonna go with some Skippy, some regular old Skippy or Jif. They both are delicious. Just a regular creamy peanut butter, and I'm done. I'm done. Cut in triangles.
Triangles. Okay, perfect. Well, done. Thank you. That is. I think you passed the test. So yeah, but thank you again for everything, and thank you, and just many, many, many blessings to you. And I love all that you're doing, and thank you for that.
Thank you, sis. And know this, like, we're in a time where things are a little crazy for everybody, but you need to know, everyone watching this needs to know that it's going to be okay. And the way that it's going to be okay is that we have to continue to take care of each other. We need to continue to make decisions that benefit not just us, not just you and yours. You need to make decisions that benefit everyone. I'm seeing all this stuff in the news about people not wanting to wear masks because it's inconvenient. Well, sometimes you have to inconvenience yourself for the greater good. You know, sometimes, you know, you may want to go out and run the streets. Maybe you should stay home for the greater good. Right. So let's start making choices that benefit everybody and not just ourselves. And if we do that, we can come out of this on the other side better. I am proud of you. I am proud of how you use your platform. I'm proud of how you have chosen to use your circumstance to bless others. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people in your circumstance would be somewhere in fetal position, you know, fighting the world. And you have chosen to fight the world this way.
Yeah.
And I think that that is, that's beautiful. And you're going to bless a lot of people. You're going to encourage a lot of people. And I pray that whatever you pour out is poured back into you 1,000-fold. And I know that God is good, so it will happen.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.